Alex,
Adam,
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. It is hot. It is toasty in southern Ontario right now.
It is
Sort of
very hot.
like both the cities that will be hosting our Stanley Cup finals. The matchup, it's Vegas, it's Florida. Two places known for being hot. Just made that up on the spot, by the way. Wasn't very funny, but I'll take it.
Oh man, that was a good one. That was a good
Thank
one.
you. Thank you very much. All this and more on today's episode of the 2-1 podcast. Daniel's day to day with the lower body injury, was it?
I think so. Yeah.
Poor guy. What are we going to talk about today, Alex? We're going to talk about Vegas, Florida. Starts on Saturday because the
Yeah.
league wanted to make us wait a month. Not
That's
a month,
fine.
a week, but I misspoke.
That's
We're going to
okay.
look at, yeah, it's awful.
I don't
We're
think
going to look at,
anything. I think that's all we'll talk about. I don't think anything else
oh
happened.
no, I mean, nothing to do with, Rod Brindamore said that his team didn't get swept, but they did in
No,
fact get swept.
no, but nothing
Um,
happened outside of that. Those two
I mean,
series.
it's not even just, looking at the other one and Jamie Benn single-handedly,
Yeah.
sort of almost costing his team, that was bad.
No.
Or, Dubas being named president of the
No.
Panthers or
Yeah.
Treliv-In the GM in Toronto, or if three teams have a new head coach. Oh, two, but then we're waiting for the Rangers still in Calgary. But yeah, a lot happened.
A
And we're
lot
going to
has
talk about it.
happened.
Yeah.
We are going to talk about it.
Where do you want to start?
Let's start with the two series. I don't care which one we start with.
Okay, let's talk about the fact that Jamie Benn is just I think should be stripped of the captaincy here. So it was a 3-0. Sorry, going into I believe this was game 3. The Golden Knights were up 2-0 in the series versus the Dallas Stars. The Stars had a game in which they needed to win. It's the old story of a difference between a 2-1 series and a 3-0 series. Minutes into the game, uh, how did he try and phrase it? Landing
He landed.
on Mark Stone instead of the cross check. Jamie Benn, the captain,
Yep.
gets the 5-minute major. He would eventually be suspended for 2 games. I believe there were 2 Vegas goals on that power play alone. It basically sunk them. And what happens in the 2 games that Ben is suspended? Obviously, they would lose game 3. The 2 games that their captain is gone, the former Art Ross winner, Dallas would win both games, only for Jamie Benn to come back into the lineup. And well, we all saw what happened. Vegas trounced them 6-0 in game 6.
It was funny.
Yeah.
It was funny because after game 5, and after Dallas wins game 5, I was having a conversation with someone and we were just both joking about how the Stars should not put Jamie Benn back in the lineup. And obviously we're talking, and my friend goes, he says, yeah, I mean, they did it with Bunting. It didn't work out the same way, but
yes,
the idea.
I would say it is a different caliber of player.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what
100%,
think?
100%. It's just the idea.
Guess how many points Jamie Benn had this year? I'm going to guess.
45.
He had 78 points
Okay,
this year.
wow. Okay.
I was just as shocked. Guy scored 33 goals. I was like,
Oh,
what
wow.
happened?
Shoot.
I didn't know
I look like an idiot.
He looked like, man, I would have guessed the same thing. If you had told me he had scored 20 goals, 20 assists before this playoffs, I'd be like,
Yeah.
I'd find that's fair. Did not know he had 30 goals until I looked it up because I'm like, we all know he's got the big contract. He hasn't, previous years hasn't really been performing back up to it. Then I looked at this year, I'm like, oh, he was good. He deserved. He was a real top 6 player for that team. That's first line scoring on a lot of other squads in the NHL.
Yeah. That is.
He sewered his team. As much momentum as they scared Vegas going into games 4 and 5. They get the wins. But again, how many teams have come back from a 3-0 series deficit before? What's it like 3? I think it's 4 teams.
4.
Yeah. So tough to do that, and it's even more tough when it is your captain.
That's a good point, but I do, I mean, considering how game 6 went, and I'm not trying to take away blame from Jamie Benn for the actions. I'm just saying, I don't know. I always had Vegas winning this series. Maybe I'm just silly, but I don't know. Maybe I just don't get, I don't know. I feel like I don't think they changed the outcome of the series for me. I always thought it was going to be Vegas. I think you had Dallas winning.
I had to make in the finals.
You did.
Listen, in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it would be too big a deal if you went into a bracket saying that Vegas would make the finals.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty fair bet. Like, I think we can all agree. But there are concerns about the goaltending, yes, but this is a team that we have to remember did win their division. They beat out the Oilers for that division. Let's not forget. Um, by the way, just shout out to you know, Vegas are keeping in there. By the way, it feels like it's their identity. By the way, to just have all of their goalies fall to injury, and it's like, oh, who do we have? Brossoit. Okay, here we go. You're in. Like what? Like that's just sort of their identity from year one. When you think about it, it's really, really funny.
Yeah, because then they go to their fifth goaltender, their fifth string goalie. They had to call up the guy from what's his name? Oh, Dylan Ferguson.
Was this
Was
their
that first year?
First year? Yeah, and there was like Maxime Legacy, and it was like, who are these guys? And they kept winning, and then they went to the finals, and now they're back.
Now they're back. Yeah, that's not a surprise.
No, it's not.
No.
I will go back to the Stars, and I will say
Let's
this:
do it.
if your captain doesn't recklessly throw a cross check within 3 minutes of the game starting, you still have a chance in Game 3.
Yep.
You know, it's if we can still say, you know, maybe Vegas in the long term, we don't know how the rest of that game goes. Maybe they still end up winning it the rest of the series, whatever. But in the moment, Guy Gay was responsible. And I mean, let's be honest here. Vegas had been on the same side of a crucial major penalty in a crucial moment in the playoff series before. San Jose Game 7 all those years ago. So there is obviously, you know, you got to stop the power. That's on the PK, the goalie too. But the captain can't be doing that. The captain cannot be doing that. Like, especially that crucial time. It was undisciplined. That's what I'm going for here.
100%.
I'm upset more than you and Daniel. I was so high on the Stars this year. Ottinger was inconsistent. Again,
yeah,
the Jamie Benn stuff. I mean, you know, man, it was Ryan Suter had some. God, he did not have a good playoffs. It's never a good sign when you are being talked about as a buyout candidate like Ryan Suter is, and it's like, hey, 32 thoughts. Let's talk about Ryan Suter's buyout being really, really good.
That's
never a good
wild.
Sign.
That's wild because I feel like through the season,
former Minnesota Wild, right?
Former Minnesota Wild. I thought that the way people were talking about him, I'm like, no, there's no way he's going to be bought out again, and I don't get it. Whatever, maybe they need the money. I don't know. It caught me off guard when I heard that people were talking about Ryan Suter as a buyout candidate, considering how somewhat important he was to their decor prior to him, prior to these playoffs.
He's been, I think, the example we always love to use is if Miro Heiskanen is an Erik Karlsson in this example, you can say Ryan Suter is the Mark Mathot. I mean, you know, I remember when they signed him and it was like a 4-year deal, and you would think, why? You don't need to do that. I'm going to quickly get up their cap friendly. And this is where we have to be careful, Alex, because do you know what's happened on cap friendly?
Yeah, they've rolled over.
Yeah, so I always get very concerned about this. So if I'm reading this properly, I am. Okay, so here are the guys on the roster who are going to need contracts. Again, roster. I'm not going to go in the prospects. No, I'm not doing that. Dylan Wells, who's their third goalie. I mean, sure, whatever. So right now you still got Wedgwood and Ottinger. Mm-hmm. Joe Hanley, that doesn't really, yeah. And then Frederick Olofsson, Joel Kiviranta, Luke Glendening, Evgeny Dodonov, Tyja Landria. And if you want to know if they're going to clear money, what for? Here's another one. The guy who's had a great playoff and is probably looking for that final, I want a home long-term deal, Max Domi, UFA. Maybe that's where the money's going to go if they have to sort of. And then next year, I was going to say next year, Joe Pavelski, but he's obviously going to keep doing evergreen deals. And then it's Miller and Hakanpää next summer. So they're still in. They're going to come back with the core. They can run it back. You know, we're going to talk about another team running it back, but, you know.
I mean, I saw people suggesting they trade Jamie Benn. They're not going to do that.
I don't know who would take the deal. Let's see. Okay, you know what? Hold on a minute. Let me go to total salary for a second here. Where is our man, Jamie Benn? He only makes 6.5 million in real money this year and next. So I think that's a bit too much for the
Arizona Coyotes.
Arizona Coyotes.
Yeah.
Oh, and signing bonus is 5.5 per.
I mean,
never
Chicago
mind.
maybe.
Yeah, I mean, since with that
But
Connor Bedard money on it, yeah.
yeah, but still, I just can't see that happening. I get it. I think those suggestions are just emotional reactions to what happened.
Yeah.
And I
They
don't
still
think
have a
that
young core.
happens.
Like they're in a good
They do.
position. This isn't
Yeah,
like
yeah. Oh yeah, they're in a good position.
we're going to talk about another Eastern Conference. Sorry, the other losing conference team in Carolina. As much as we still kind of think of the Stars as the Jamie Benn team, Tyler Seguin team, they still have a stench of that. Everyone still thinks, they're the John Klingberg team, even though he's not on the team anymore. We got to slowly realize that it's the Heiskanen team, it's the Ottinger team, it's the Robertson team, it's those guys.
I think
that
this
core
year
is still really young.
Yeah, I think this year, I mean, for me at least, was the real okay. We're past. Not that they're still part of the team, obviously, but we're past that core.
Mm-hmm.
We're into. I mean, like the first line of Robertson, Hintz, and Pavelski's is older, but that first line was one of the best in the regular season, and so that's two of their core players right there. So to me, this season was the year that we're past. It's not Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin's team anymore.
Remember last episode I asked if Matthew Tkachuk has had his stock raised higher than anyone else in the playoffs?
Mm-hmm.
And we always go on about how Sasa Barkov is the most underrated player in the league. Is it time to give both of those tags? So that maybe a guy who's raised his stock to the most and maybe the underrated, do we give that to noted member of your fantasy team last year, Rupe Hintz?
Yeah, maybe.
Doesn't he lead the playoffs in scoring right now?
Let me
probably like
check.
Him and some Oilers, but he had a spectacular playoffs. Remember when he signed that big extension? Everyone's like, "Oh, it's an overpayment," and Stars fans were like, "Guys, you know what you're talking about." And he's been spectacular.
Yeah, he leads the league in scoring.
How many points?
24 points.
That's not bad.
Tkachuk has 21.
Oh, so we'll see, but still, that's not bad. It's not bad. No. And just out of curiosity, do you see an Oiler on there?
Yeah, McDavid is third and Draisaitl is fourth.
How many points each?
20 for McDavid, 18 for Draisaitl.
That's a shame. Because obviously we had that dip in recording. We did not talk about the Oilers enough. I don't even remember if we did last episode.
I don't think so.
Man, that's not good. All right. The Carolina Hurricanes get swept for the third consecutive appearance of theirs in the conference finals. Okay. So paraphrasing Rod Brindamore, basically saying it was an extremely close series and we didn't really get swept. Each team, listen, I get that. Like, let's look at, for the sake of the first round series of Toronto Tampa, bunch of overtime games. That's a close series, right? Listen, Alex, I have not been the kindest to the Carolina Hurricanes the past couple of seasons. And I feel like I need to say this now. We talk about the humps of certain teams. The Avs had the second round for a while. The Leafs until this season was the first round. The Capitals are the most famous one with the second round. We all remember where they were. Everyone remembers where they were when Kuznetsov scored that goal. I was in the ER. I had messed up my ankle, fun fact. Everyone remembers that. Now, the Canes sort of have very quietly had their sort of hump of just sort of, I didn't realize they had gotten swept in 3 state conference finals.
I didn't know that either.
Being haunted by the Bruins forever. Listen, they've got a lot of stuff to do this offseason, but I think we got to give them the same sort of crap that we give teams like Toronto. This is again is a results-based the world of sports. I'm not saying you fire Rod Brindamore because I still think he's a spectacular coach. But at some point here, and I get you were missing Svechnikov.
That's huge. I don't think anyone's talking. No one was talking about that.
Everyone's forgotten that he was hurt. And I will, even though I hate mentioning this player because he only played like 6 games, you didn't have Max Pacioretty. Okay, I'll give you that. You still had Brent Burns. You still had Sebastian Aho. You still had Jesper Kotkaniemi, who
But
was
wait a
another playoff
second.
performer, was not great this thing. You still had Jordan Stahl. You still had Mr. Martin Necas, who has been spectacular this year. You still had all that talent. Still had your great team. And you know what? You didn't get it done. I just think we need to give the Canes a bit more crap here. And I love Rob Brindamore, but come on,
Sure.
brother. Brother, you just got swept, brother. Brother.
See, the thing is, I don't necessarily think he's wrong, but you can't say it.
Oh yeah, he
You
is right.
can't
They
say
were
it.
what was it?
They
Two or
were super
three.
close series.
So game 4 was a last second goal from Kachuk. The other two were OT winners, including a stupid like 8-9 period game.
Yeah.
He's right. At the end of the day, though, if the Panthers win the cup, no one in their right minds is going to think of, do you know what? The Canes are real close there. You know what I mean? Like at the end of
No.
the day, it's you need to win. You need to find Matthew Kachuk in that series. I know people were saying at times he wasn't performing the great, but you know what he did, Alex? Is at the most important. This is the thing with your superstars. They need to show up at the most important time of the playoffs, the most important moments, the moments where you look back on years from now and you're like, that was King style. I can't say the word because I can't swear here, but King bleep, King begins with an S. You know what I mean? Matthew Kachuk came up huge in so many moments, and again, responsible for winning 3 of those 4 games goal wise. Obviously, Bobrovsky was great, but you know what I mean. He was there for the big moments. Guys like Sebastian Aho didn't do that. Who needs a new contract next year? And they are confident they're going to get it done, but we'll see.
Here's okay. This is it. This is how I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I said this at the deadline in that, yeah, I get it. You have a group of guys there. You add Max Pacioretty to that group who can score, except in the playoffs.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
And their deadline additions were Jesse Puljujarvi and Shane Gostisbehere.
I think Puljujarvi was scratched in game 4, wasn't he?
Sure. I think so. Maybe. I'm not sure. To me, it's they didn't get a scorer at the deadline or someone. They didn't get an impact maker at the deadline, and that could have been anyone. That could have been. I mean, listen, Tyler Bertuzzi didn't get traded until the last week.
Yeah, I remember coming out the subway and you were not happy about it.
I was not
because he was a Bruin. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just listen. Tyler Bertuzzi's not a 40 goal scorer.
No,
I don't know. If anything, he plays closer like Matthew Tkachuk than he does as a sniper. To me. So again, you just and I think I saw Don Waddell had a quote earlier this week talking about that, how they're going to be active in the trade market and that they're looking for someone who can score, but not just a sniper. Right. But you should have done that at the deadline is my thing. So do it.
So there was word going around that apparently they were in on Kachuk last summer, who 100-point player, does more than just score. They were obviously in on Timo Meier, goal scorer, wasn't great in the playoffs, but goal scorer who does more than score goals. They're getting into the realm of swung but miss.
Can I interest them in one Mitch Marner?
I mean, does put up points. Good two-way. Because what is it? Some random person was out there saying that it was a joke on Leafs Twitter.
It was some random reporter, but I'm just saying, if there's anyone who's gonna fix his nervousness, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, it might be Rod Brindamore.
You know what's weird is a good sign for them. It looks like no one's hiring Eric Tulsky. I don't get. That's very strange to me. Very strange.
I mean,
technically, with the way hockey is, I'm actually not kind of surprised.
The Penguins' job is still open for now.
I mean, technically, it is. It is. We'll get there, though. These are some of the free agents the Canes have coming here. Jake Gardner's a UFA. I mean, he's probably done.
I think he's done.
I don't know. Speaking of Andre Kasha is also a UFA. Did you know that? Did you know he was there? I did.
I didn't know that. Actually,
Max Pacioretty. Zach Sawchenko. Do you know what position that man plays?
Forward.
I think he was a black ace goaltender.
Oh,
And obviously both their goaltenders and Freddie Anderson and Antti Ranta are UFAs. I would I know I think they said they were open to bringing, but I think Tom Dundon said said they were
yeah.
open to bringing both back. And I'm thinking, sure, but there's a certain young Kochekov that you would hope to would be playing. And then up front, I mean, skater wise, not up front because there's some defensemen in here. Dylan Coughlin is an RFA. Calvin DeHaan's the UFA. So is Shane Gostisbehere. And Maxime Lajoie. That's a name I haven't heard for years. And then free agents up front, RFA, Jesse Puljujarvi. I don't know if that gets qualified. Then Jesper Fast, Mackenzie McEachran, who had some of these playoffs, by the way. Paul Stastny, who was also very good.
Did you? I didn't know Paul Stastny was a Kane until like the playoffs.
That round. It was
no. Not,
he had an OT. Did he have a series-winning goal this playoffs or something? I remember he had a big goal. And Jordan Stahl, their captain, is also a UFA. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, they have a lot of money though. I will say it. Like they have like 24 million. If I'm reading this right, they have $24 million in cap space.
But it's gonna go with the guys though.
Yeah. No, I know. I know. But I'm not particularly worried about the Canes, and I don't necessarily expect them to blow it up or whatever the case may be.
Get a game breaker. I like Aho, but like
say it again.
Get a sexy name.
Can I offer you Mitch Marner? I'm just saying.
Okay, so looking at the finals, it is Vegas versus Florida, and I didn't realize this until I was listening to something. It may have been 32 Thoughts. The Riley Smith, Jonathan Marchessault revenge tour.
Yes.
Two of the long-time Vegas Golden Knights, two of the first. Never forget. Was it they asked Marchessault to take Smith or vice versa?
Vice versa.
But before we get there, though,
I believe they wanted to protect Keith Yandel.
Oh my god!
If I remember correctly.
Oh boy, that did not age well. No. Before we get into this, though, Alex, absolutely love. I love. They don't really do this anymore. I don't think. I love when you put Stanley Cup playoffs, like the patch on the ice, right? Mm-hmm. I love the hats at the end of the conference finals. I love the Stanley Cup finals patch on the jersey.
Sorry.
However, have you seen that they have been moved over for jersey ads? So there's a thing of a Panther with like their letter next to the patch, and it looks so awkward. And I just have to ask, is this Gary Bettman's NHL?
No, but it's just the lack of creativity. Let me fix it for everybody. Let me do it. I got it.
Okay.
Move the jersey ad up a couple inches. Move the patch over. I don't know. Like I didn't think it was that hard. Can I just say I've been seeing these hats and whatever. I don't like Fanatics. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
I don't know if they're the ones. It seems like they're the ones making it. I don't know, but I don't like it. But yeah, man, just move the patch over. It's that simple.
You think
move the patch up, move the patch over. It's very simple.
Do you remember when you were a kid and you would have to like print out a picture or something, but you would put it into a Word doc and you try to stretch the picture out to make it look bigger?
Yeah.
But it would be like, it would screw up the resolution. You just couldn't get it right. Mm-hmm. Or you make like an illustration that just looks like crap and you just can't. That's what these jersey like patches and that look like right now. It's actually sickening. Like we won't notice it once it actually starts because, no. We just won't, but it's still annoying knowing that it's there. It actually makes me very upset, to be honest.
It's so weird. It's just unnecessary. Lack of creativity. Yes. Like, am I missing something?
Absolutely not. Right. So let's look at the series itself.
Okay.
Again, I can't remember if we said this last episode, so if we did, my apologies. But and I think a lot of people have been talking about Ivan Barbashev a lot, but again, you look at these two teams at the deadline. I want to say Vegas' one big move was Barbashev. The Panthers didn't do much. And even if we look at sort of the way that Stanley Cup winners have approached the deadline, The Avs got a lot of pieces. They bring in like Josh Manson, Lehkonen, not top line players, but like the guys who fit in with the system, play the game the right way, and then they just flourish, right? And
Mhm.
Barbashev's been like that. But I think we see almost a repeat of the 2021 finals. Extremely hot goaltender making a lot of money that everyone thought was cooked. Going against sort of the heavy juggernaut here. Vegas, Florida, here we are. Alex, I
Well,
almost
let's
want to
call it a die
say,
down version of the 2021 finals.
I mean,
I
I
don't
think
think Vegas are anywhere near the juggernauts that Tampa were, and at the same time, I'll give my respect to Carey Price. Let's not put Sergei Bobrovsky in that
hey,
stratosphere,
listen, I'm
please and
just going
thank
off
you.
the people. You know me. I defended that man his entire career.
I know.
He's still there. But
I'll keep
I'm working with it. Okay, how about this
okay.
then? The underdog team versus the team who is actually doing balloon animal tricks with the salary cap right now and kept their
Mhm.
best player out most of the year.
Fine, fine.
Yeah, we can do that.
We can
90
agree on
million,
that
is it?
one.
Yeah, it's not $18 million over. It's only like
It's
8 or 7
not
million.
$100 million.
Yeah, no, that was $18 million. Never forget. Yeah, God, that was something, wasn't it? However, I mean, I don't know what to make of this series in the way of, do I want to count out the Florida Panthers and have Alex Baumgartner bully me even more about it? I don't know. I don't know what the league would prefer. I'm not saying the league are going to rig it, but like if you're the league,
Oh,
and
Vegas.
I am looking so forward to whenever Bettman does his pre-finals media conference, because boy does he not have a lot to talk about right now. I just realized we don't have the Send sail on the dock right now, but next episode we need to talk about how it is a
Uh,
mess right now.
yeah, it's bad.
But like, if you're the league, you're going to be happy because it's either the Florida market that very quietly has sort of been. Remember when they were losing like hundreds of thousands of dollars a day, and like Dale Talon came in and was like, "What are we doing here?" But that or Vegas, which you seem to be like, if there's one thing the league did well, and it's somehow the only thing they've beaten the other big major four at, is getting to Vegas and they're getting their team there.
Mhm.
They got to be happy with that. But when you look at the series, how do you think it's going to go? Where do you see it? Who wins? How many
Um,
games? Who's going to be your MVP?
that's a good question. Um, I think it's gonna, man, I feel I'm whatever. I'm gonna say it. I think it's gonna go to Vegas.
Okay,
I think it's gonna go to Vegas. Let's just, I don't I hate picking the amount of games, but I'll do it anyways.
they don't have
Let's
to.
go
What is
six.
this? Six
Six.
games.
Why not?
So
Six games.
I will. Oh God, man, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough, isn't it? Um, you know what? I'm trying to think who am I rooting for here. I'm trying to think of players. Who am I rooting for here? And I look at Florida and I'm like, I'm rooting for Matthew Tkachuk, obviously. Like to see Bobrovsky get a cup. You always like to see the goaltenders get their rings. I like Anthony Duclair. I'm rooting for Anthony Duclair. I'm looking at Vegas and I'm like, I'm not cheering for Jonathan Quick to get another ring.
Come
I'm
on.
like,
How about
am I
Phil
rooting
Kessel?
for, he has two.
Yeah, give him a
He's
third.
got his
If
rings.
he gets a third ring, he's a Hall of Famer, right? I know it's a question, but
Alex, you know what happens when you and I debate Hall of Famers. How long until I
wait a
bring back up
second.
Chris
Wait a
Kunitz?
second.
No, I
Wait a
think Phil
second.
Kessel is a. I think if he gets a third ring, yeah, I think he gets
He
100%.
could have absolutely no part. Like he played 82 games. He's played 4 playoff games. I
Yep.
don't care. It's a third absolute ring.
Oh yeah, I'd agree with you there. Yeah, no, 100% he'd be there. Yeah, okay, yeah, like Chris
Okay.
Kunitz is a gold medalist. Yeah, Olympic gold medalist.
Wait, but Phil Kessel should have a Conn Smythe right now. Don't compare the two.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you there, but
Everyone knows that.
I'm not going to argue against City.
Every-
I still remember the World Cup of hockey where Crosby got thrown an MVP, and it should have been Carey Price. And I'll die on that hill. Anyway,
Probably.
where are we going? Oh yeah, I'm trying
Uh,
to think
who
like
should
which
win?
team do I like more? And I don't know if there's a lot of people out there who like the Golden Knights more than the Panthers. Even though
Oh, probably
the damage it has done to the value of that first round pick for the Habs has just killed me.
not.
But I'll tell you that. But either this far, I would also really like our friend Alex Baumgartner, to be able to cover his team winning the cup I'd love for him to be in the locker room covered in whatever beer the Panthers want. So I think I'm gonna cheap out and be like, screw this. I'm just gonna say I want the Panthers to win. For my friend's sake, is what I will say to that.
Fine. Fine.
And there we go. That's all I'm gonna say.
Conn Smythe. I've realized we didn't
Oh.
pick that. I mean, for you, it should be an easy answer.
Yeah, if Florida win, it should be Sergei Bobrovsky.
Yes.
I mean, if anyone says if the Panthers win and Bobrovsky doesn't get it, I really think we should. I think we should storm the voters' houses and stop it. Even though you know they're itching to give it to Kachuk, you know
they want to, but they
Yeah.
cannot.
No.
They cannot.
What about you?
That's a good question. I didn't think about it.
Yeah, Vegas win.
Yeah, Vegas. I mean, listen, I agree. If Florida wins, it's Bobrovsky, but
Petrangelo's been good. Marchessault's been heating up. Eichel's been good.
See, I want to say Eichel.
I mean, it's close around Vegas, isn't it?
Or do you get
close.
nuts and you pick Aiden Hill?
I mean, has he been more important than Eichel or Marchessault or Petrangelo? I don't know.
That's a good. I don't know.
It's a lot more difficult.
Screw it. I'm going Jack Eichel. But say whatever you're gonna say.
Because it's been we're having such a difficult time. The thing is, I think whatever Golden Knight emerges, really, or if any of those guys really take control of the series, then that guy probably gets it. But it's a lot more difficult for them. But I'll say, I'll just say Petrangelo.
Okay.
Puts the team on his back, bullies a bunch of people, pulls a Hedman circa 2020, I think it was. I think Hedman was 2020.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember I was on the bandwagon the whole time, and I had my jaw surgery. I came back and I was like, Hedman. Yeah, man. So a few hours before Brad Treliv-In, it is Brad, not Jim. Before Brad Treliv-In, new GM of the Leafs, was supposed to speak. We were going to open with the Leafs, but obviously we had to pull the Kyle Dubas special of undercutting them. Thought this was funny. Conveniently, right before the new Leafs GM was supposed to talk, the Penguins announced that their new president of hockey ops is Mr. Kyle Dubas. Woo! Worst kept secret in the league. As a motorcycle, God damn it, Pickering bikers. Yeah, it happened.
Wow, I'm so surprised.
He kept his promise, Alex.
Oh my God.
He is not the GM. He is not. He will be acting as the interim as they find a new GM, but he kept his word. He is not the GM. So he is technically in the world of GMs. It was not Toronto, but he's not the GM anywhere else. So he kept his word.
Wow, thank God. Thank God. Oh my God. I was so pressed about him after he was let go. I was actually so pressed about whether he was going to keep his word or not. I was losing sleep at night.
After he was shanked out the door by his boss.
Listen, there was someone. No, I'm going to say who it was. Mike even texted me saying that he thought Dubas was the scapegoat here. Mike.
That says something.
Right. Okay. I just wanted to put that out there to tell you. You understand how much. Listen, I'm not pro or anti Dubas. The events that went down went down. Yes. If you care, stop. Enough. We're past it, right? We're going to have this conversation once and it's going to be right now because it's relevant. We're never going to have this conversation about Kyle Dubas again unless it has something to do with the moves he makes.
Unless the Leafs win the cup next year and everyone's like, who deserves credit? Because that's coming.
Well, they have to do stuff first, Adam. Yeah. You're asking a lot. You're asking a lot for a team that doesn't perform in the whatever. So, we're not going to. But yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, let's talk about the Pens and just say the big takeaway I had was Dubas basically saying he thinks they can still win a cup with that core. To a point, there's work to do, but I will never count out said. And let's be honest, I don't care what anyone says. As long as Sidney Crosby is in the NHL, they need to win. And when
Yeah.
he was like, I'm gonna stick to this core, I was like,
Like,
yes, brother.
it's we
That's his
can and we
thing.
will. It's we
Oh, I
can and
love
we
it.
will all over
Love
again.
it.
But I will say, like, don't you? I feel like whether it's the president of hockey operations or general manager, it's a prerequisite of the job to think that you can win with that core.
Oh yeah.
Like, listen, before Brian Burke and Ron Hextall, I mean, I don't know what word we want to use to call what they did to the Penguins. It's not like the Penguins were in a particularly great situation when they joined.
Oh god. Yeah.
Um, and I think to them that their goal was to also win with this core.
Yeah.
So I think it's as you said, as long as Sidney, that core, those three players are there, including Crosby, you need to win.
If Kyle Dubas loves his guys, can we say that he also loves his pens, and maybe we can bring back Marc-Andre Fleury?
Oh, I thought you were going to say like Kasperi Kapanen as a joke.
I was
but
thinking about that as I was saying, like, does he bring back Kapanen because he's in
no,
Pittsburgh and loves his
God,
guys? I'm like,
God.
Nick Cousins is definitely going to be the fourth line center of the Pittsburgh Penguins, right? Sue Greyhound.
Why is he? He was.
Yeah,
Oh,
Nick Cousins was a Sue Greyhound.
Could have brought him
Yeah,
to the Leafs, but what?
yeah, that's what I mean. That's why everyone was making jokes about a Sue Greyhound and did his job.
Oh,
Yeah, man. Let's talk about Treliv-In. Okay,
oh, that's it on Dubas.
Yeah. What else do we want to say? I mean, yeah, good for
I don't
him.
know.
I'm
who do
happy
you think?
for him.
Well, he's the president. Who do you think he brings in?
Mark Bergevin.
Stop.
I don't know, man.
No, well, he said. See, the interesting thing was. Sorry, I don't mean to continue. I just wanted to add this
no
point.
worries. I don't mind.
I think it's interesting the conversations that were being had, like during the press conference, because he was suggesting he wants someone progressive, whatever that means, but he also suggested that he wants to bring in a general manager who, I guess, complements him in a way, and I guess I don't know if it's the way he thinks about hockey or if what he's good at and what he's bad at. Because that is a very interesting thing. I was thinking about that too when, he was still a Leaf. Like, if you do perhaps move him up, do you bring someone in who is good at what he isn't good at?
So, trading star players and negotiating with star players. You know who's never afraid to?
Has he traded? I guess Kadri's a star. Yeah, fair.
Mark Bergevin. I don't know, man. Because you gotta imagine at least that group in Pittsburgh right now have an idea of who they don't want because they've been doing a GM search for how long now?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't. It's. I'm trying to think. Like, who's maybe? I wonder if it's one of those things where it's someone we don't know.
That's a possibility. Here's what I'll say is what was the issue with the Penguins this year outside, like forward wise? What was
depth sucked?
Right.
Jeff Carter, especially.
Right. Listen, and I'm not going to argue. You know what? I'll do it like this. If Kyle Dubas signs a contract that's more than $3 million, it's an absolute toss up. It is. Nick Ritchie, Petr Mrazek. I don't know. I feel like we can continue. But what I think, if to give him some credit, what he was pretty good at was finding decent players who could get more than their value.
Diamonds in the rough.
Diamonds in the rough. Thank you. Bunting, Kampf.
You know who was. You know what organization's really good at doing that as well, Alex? The diamond in the rough thing. You know who was really good at that for a long time?
The Pittsburgh Penguins.
The Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah.
So, let's find another Jake Gensel here, boys.
Exactly. I think they're gonna be fine.
So let's talk about the Leafs now.
Let's talk about the Leafs.
I know Friedman and that have said the Leafs talk to a lot of people, and I don't believe that. From the moment Dubas was gone, it was like, hey there. So they're interested in Treliv-In. We heard thingies of maybe Chiarelli had gotten interviewed.
Lord.
Bergevin had an interview. Maybe Botterill. And I'm looking, Alex, and it's Treliv-In. He's here. Oh boy, what do we talk about here? you're the Leafs fan here, so I'll ask
Mhm.
you your thoughts on the hire. And have you seen the press conference?
I actually watched it this morning.
Then give me your honest thoughts, your takeaways of that press conference and your new GM, the heir to the
Well,
throne of Boston
I
Pizza.
want to go back pre the press conference. I want to because I
Sure.
just want before we talk about the press conference, I want to
Yeah,
lay the groundwork a little bit
I like it.
because a lot of people have been talking about a lot of people have been high on Jim, very high on Jim Treliv-In. I just don't. It's come on. I'm fine with it. Listen, I 100% understand why you move on from Dubas for a multitude of reasons, except the one that they chose. Um,
Yeah.
I'm okay with the Jim Treliv-In signing. I mean, listen, like you,
Wait, Jim or Brad? I'm so lost.
Brad. Did you say Jim? I said
No, you
Jim.
said Jim.
Brad, David. We already started. This is gonna be a problem. Brad Treliv-In. Um, I'm okay with it. To me, it's just the status quo. I think if you look at what he's done in Calgary, how much more impressive is it than what Dubas did in Toronto? He's had 2 series wins in 9 years. The team did not go past the second round. He traded, and I understand the context of the situation, and I understand it's only been a year, but he traded one of the team's best players and the outcome, despite people being fine with it after the trade, did not work out. A la Nazem Kadri. Like, listen, I'm just saying it's the same bleep, different day, if you know the expression. Like, to me, it, I just I don't see the hype around it. I don't see how this is any different than before. It's just a new
Yeah.
phase.
So here's what I think of when I think of Trilliving, right? And I've obviously because we live in Southern Ontario, so
Mm-hmm.
we see people's thoughts and these analysis. I'm sure you've seen the threads of people going through Trilliving's history of moves, right?
Yeah.
Um, I see people saying, the Lucic trade was a win. I'm like, yeah, but he still signed James Neal. And even at the time, people defended James Neal's foot speed was going when he was in Vegas. Like that was never going to work out. I
Right.
think of like the Markstrom signing. I give him credit for that. That's not aging well. Troy Brower was another one. That was kind of concerning. Um, but then I'm like, you know what? The draft history is pretty damn good. He has a bad history of signing some middling players to some maybe a lot of money. He can't do that. However, right now he has the cap wizard as his assistant, so maybe that helps and works out. And that's a good assistant if he sticks around and doesn't get hired. It's Pridham, right? I always get
Yep.
him and the other guy mixed up.
You're him and
Um,
Gilman, but it's
yeah,
Pridham,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So, like, I think of it like this, right? Just note on Calgary, by the way, you know who had a really good World Championships, and I know that doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people, but a guy who is a great defenseman, and
Oh,
I think
yeah.
I'm really interested to see what he does. Whoever the new coach is, Calgary,
Yep.
like Mackenzie Weegar's a really good player,
Yeah,
and
man,
if
he
they
was a
can,
good player
yeah.
pre last year.
So the Kachuk trade, I think we got to defend a bit because first off,
Sure.
we're like if I'm trying to think of again, we always got to remember if the Penguins didn't choke the last 2 games of the season, Matthew Kachuk isn't playing playoff hockey right now. So the stock rising thing makes that trade look kind of bad. I
Sure.
myself last season praised the way like Treliving. I almost said his first name like Brad,
Yeah.
Jim, Brad.
Yeah.
I think he handled the offseason perfectly.
As did I.
He's not a perfect GM. I don't think a
No.
lot of them are. I just think it kind of feels like it's if you're looking at the spectrum of hockey man versus whatever you want to say Dubas is, it feels like they're kind of opposite sides of it. Um,
Really? I think they're the same, man. I don't know if you got to listen to that press conference.
I haven't known.
I listened to the press conference and I just felt I'm like, how is what maybe the roster composition will be different next year, but to me, other than experience in him being an experienced general manager compared to Kyle Dubas, what is it that sets these two these
You
two
know what,
guys
Alex?
apart.
I'm thinking about it and I'm completely wrong. I'm like, okay, a guy who wouldn't blow up his core for several years. Remember the jokes of Calgary as Toronto West for the longest time?
Yeah.
I'm thinking about that. Oh, there were some other things oh, you know what it was? I was listening to Brian Burke. I think he was on Overdrive,
Hmm.
or no, it was Kipper and Bourne. And he was talking about Treliv-In, and one of the first things he said was, he's a great guy, and that's important. I was like, oh my God. People say about
That's so
Dubas, he makes
cool.
it great to come to work, and I'm
No,
like,
and
as
that's
I'm thinking
cool.
about it, I'm like, yeah, they are actually very much the same. Ooh, yeah.
Like I want to know what, like, because here's the thing for me is I thought we were all really, really, and just to preface it, um, listen, today Treliving didn't deny the fact, like he said, we're going to explore everything. He goes, I like our guys, whatever. He talked about skill and talent. He goes, we're going to explore everything when asked about a trade.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. But I will say, I thought back in September that we were all in agreement that if the Leafs, you know what, the bed, this thing's being blown up. And I don't mean all big four guys are gone. I mean from coach upwards is gone. But now the issue I have is Brendan Shanahan's still here, Sheldon Keefe's still here, and
Yep.
From everything that's been said, we haven't heard this from Shanahan's mouth, but it's been reported that he's talked to the core four and almost hasn't assured them, but pretty much said that they're not going to be traded. So what is it like? Are we running this back? Because that's, to me, if you're going to run this back another time and we're just going to, I don't know, change the bottom six again, what are we doing?
Well, I mean, he has in place Samson. Like, I'm just trying to think, what can you change around? The goaltending is going to be walling that. I just realized he has to move Matt Murray now.
Yeah.
Weird. So Kyle Dubas technically stays my GM of the year because he won't be moving Matt Murray.
Okay, fine.
Gotta move that goalpost. But congratulations, Kyle. Yo, by the way, you know what we didn't talk about? Did you see the GM of the year finalists? What was it, like, Zito? Oh my God, it was
Zito, Jim Nill, and
Sweeney?
Stan Sweeney. Yeah.
Oh my God, what a predictable league. But like, I'm thinking about, I'm like, yeah, he's not gonna. I know some people would say, they're gonna drive the market value with telling people, we don't have to trade.
Sure.
No, whatever. Yeah, because like, think about it like this: Tree was bent over a tree last year. And it's a Uyghur and Uber now. Like, I'm so done with this. No, we're not doing this. Doing this. But let's be honest here. If Shanahan wants to keep him and the board wants to keep him, just stay. Just be honest here. It's just, and this is the thing I don't.
So
get.
What are we doing here then?
Like,
we're just running the same.
Staying? Why is Sheldon staying?
Because they like him. Because they like. I don't know, Adam. I wish I knew. But you know what the thing is? I don't know if Sheldon's a good coach or not, because when it matters, the guys don't play. They don't show up. I couldn't tell you if Sheldon's a good coach.
If Treliving's the guy, like, nice work environment, doop-a-doop-a-doo, and that goes back to Sheldon. Like, remember the Sheldon we're playing soft purpose that walks it back the next day?
100%.
My big thing is, we're talking about locker room culture. Is there going to be the accountability there? Like, let's forget about any change they make in the roster. We got to talk about, and this is a term that is overused in hockey, but this is a situation where it matters. Is there that accountability and culture there where it's like, we got to win, boys? Because, like, no offense, Tavares going to stay. Tavares, you haven't proven to do it. Giordano, older guy, maybe vet, no offense, but he's probably not going to be an everydayer in the NHL next year.
No.
Like, it's just like, is Luke Shen, if they bring him back, is he going to be the ass kicker? Like, what?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't see why not.
He's, no offense to him, but at his age, he'll probably still be an NHLer full-time next year. But, like, if he falls off because he's a physical style of play, he may not be an everyday NHLer.
Sure.
And then it doesn't matter, even if we're talking about those guys, because here's the golden question. It goes back to what you said about the top guys not playing. Is the attitude going to change for the core four? And I know Treliving was like, it can't be about the core four. brother.
And that's a great
it
point.
Lives
No,
and dies with them, though.
100%,
That's the way the
for
team
sure,
is
for sure.
built.
But I do like that point, because at the end of the day, yes, this team is going to live and die by that core four, but it's a team. And I'm not saying the guys outside of that core four didn't perform. I'm just suggesting that those four players have to look at it like that.
Mm-hmm.
They can't look at it as it's just the four of them. There has to be an understanding there is a team around you. And I don't know what they're thinking, because I don't know them. But I want to go back. You talk about them getting goalied, right? That's what you said? Or did I, or you said you're talking about goalies?
No, I was thinking of roster stuff, and I was like,
Yeah,
Treliv-In basically has the goaltending figured out for him.
But here's the thing is, so people have made the argument, and you could argue it, that in many, many, many of the series they've played, the Leafs have been goalied. Mm-hmm. Then go out and get a goalie. You know who might be available this offseason?
Jake Allen. Connor Hellebuyck.
Connor Hellebuyck. I don't know. I'm just suggesting. I'm not saying you do it, but if you're tired of being goalied, go get a goalie who can goalie. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? Like, sorry, the guys who have been acquired have not been able to do that. Like, going back to the beginning of this core with Frederik Andersen, they have no goalie has been able to do it at that level. Go get a goalie who can do that.
Let's also remember the fact that can we please watch the health of our goaltenders, please? Can we not have Samsonov definitely hurt, playing hurt in Tampa, when like people are actually like microscopic level looking at the way he stands up from his crease? Let's figure that out, please. Matthews playing like 2 months hurt, and it's like, oh, I'm fine now in the playoffs. That's great, but can we work on that, please?
Which I don't think he was, but whatever. Like, that's still besides.
It's kind of like LeBron's out. Oh boy, he's playing with an ankle.
Yeah, like it doesn't matter. Like, then I don't know what the solution is there. Listen, my concern is if we're running this back the same way, you have to have an actual definition an actual reason as to why you're running it back in the way you're running it back. Because if all you've done is just change the general manager because Dubas suggested that you streamline the process, are you like, I'd be more upset, not because I'm pro Dubas or whatever. I'm fine with Jim Treliv-In or Brad. Sorry, Brad. It's gonna be a long year. Yeah. I'm fine with Brad Treliv-In. It's just the way the Dubas stuff went down was so silly. So silly. Again, talking to Mike, I go, you'd think, and he agreed with me, which was crazy. We don't agree on Leaf stuff ever. I go, you'd think the way that Dubas suggested it be streamlined, which I think Friedman said, instead of it going from Dubas to Shanahan to Board to Shanahan to Dubas, that Shanahan and Dubas go to the Board. You'd think that was already happening.
I was going to say, shouldn't the guy who's making the trades be the one to just, God damn it. I hate corporations so much.
Like, I hate it. And the fact that it was like, so pissy that they were so pissy about it, while the Raptors are literally directionless.
Oh God!
While TFC are literally just being run to the ground. The Argos are the only one doing things.
No offense, but
I'm not gonna crap on the Argos. I'm not gonna do it. I'm just pointing out 3 of the 4 major organizations that you own were in somewhat of a turmoil for a few weeks. Come on. Yep. Come on. But no, listen, we will not hear any complaints from members of the media for no particular reason. I will not say them.
Do we want to talk about coaching changes around the league?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. First off, we'll start with this one because it is relevant to the Leafs. They do lose the assistant coach responsible for one of the best power plays for the past couple of years, Spencer Carberry. Now, okay, I would like to just double check something. While I do, Alex, could you do me a favor and just tell the Caps fans out there?
Yeah.
Because he's going back to Washington.
Good point.
Go on about Spencer Carberry for a second, please.
Oh, if you don't remember, before Spencer Carberry, it was Manny Malhotra who was the coach, power play coach, and that was
not good.
a disaster.
That's bad.
Almost call it what it is. It was not going well, and Spencer Carberry came out, and I mean maybe we can use the word creative. The power play was a little bit more. I at times it did get stale, but unlike what it was like with Malhotra, they were able to get out of the rut at times, most of the time. I mean, listen, this was a guy who won AHL Coach of the Year before being before signing with the Leafs. Like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I believe so. So yeah, go ahead. I was just gonna finish. I was just gonna say they're getting a good coach, and they signed him to 4 years, so I think they really like him.
So I wanted to say this because I did see people making that classic joke of when the Leafs, oh God, here it comes. The Leafs their talent pool is being poached. I just want to point out to everyone that Spencer Carberry. Oh yes, what's this? Oh, he was actually a member of the Hershey Bears. Which Alex, could you just remind me who the Hershey Bears, the AHL affiliate of what team?
The Washington Capitals. I almost said Carolina Hurricanes.
And he's just been hired by
the Washington Capitals.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you. But hey, if you want an offensive minded coach, for Alex Ovechkin, let's do that. Let's break some goal records here. Yeah. But hey, good for him. Getting the 4th year, weird, but hey, apparently it was a thing of interest in that. Like, everyone wants me. Fine. There we go. John Hines, officially out in Nashville. The coaching sorority were not happy about it, apparently. But Barry Trotz, the new GM of the Nashville Predators, brings in another offensively minded coach, the guy who coached after the whole saga with Joe Quenneville, kept the Florida Panthers afloat to a President's Trophy last season. Andrew Brunette has a head coaching job. I'll just say this first and foremost. I'm happy Brunette got a job. Obviously, Paul Maurice seems to be working very well for the Panthers, but I did feel like Brunette got done kind of dirty. So I'm happy for him. And Nashville, get offensive. Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. I find it funny that it's the combination of Barry Trotz and Andrew Brunette. But I mean, listen, man, I don't know if you saw the quote from Trotz's press conference. I think it was the same one where he said they were talking about the draft, and he pretty much said he told his scouts to take big swings and I'll fill out the 3rd and 4th lines.
Yes, I did see that.
Yeah, I really like that quote. That was a very interesting quote from Trotz. Again, I guess Andrew Brunette is more offensive minded, but I wonder what lessons he takes from his experience in Florida and his time with Lindy Ruff.
Do not let your players allegedly go to a strip club, even though it didn't happen, but I still wanted to make the joke. Yeah. Don't get Jonathan. Get a Kachuk.
Yeah.
Go get Brady or something. Maybe if Ottawa keeps going downhill, maybe Brady will want out. But I'm excited to see what Philip Forsberg looks like under an offensive-minded coach. I'm actually so excited for that. There are deeper issues than just that with Nashville, but Barry... It's just funny to me, man. And now it looks like John Hines or Peter Laviolette, I think it was Arthur Staple was talking about. With Hines now being out, he may be the leading candidate to get the Rangers job. Apparently before Hines, it was leaning towards Laviolette. Man, can we just... Again, I'm sorry if I've said this before, but is there not... Alex, is there not a better example of NHL recycling coaches like Peter Laviolette?
Yeah, I don't know if I get the intrigue, especially from New York's from the Rangers perspective. I don't know, maybe I don't get the Hines one either, other than there's the connection with Drury. I don't get Peter.
What's the connection there?
I think they were talking about college. Let me double check.
I thought you were about to say they played together. I'm like, no, don't do this to me. There's more people saying that about Patrick Waugh there. They're like, boys.
I don't know. That would be... That would be
Wouldn't be surprised.
that would be interesting.
Oh
They were actually Adam. I was wrong. They
my
did play together
God.
at Boston University in the
Oh my
90s.
God. Oh, I hate the sport. Seriously, people keep saying John Hines is a good coach, and I just keep seeing everything. I'm like, yeah, but is he? Has he just had the bad luck of continuing to have poor teams? You know what?
Seems like it.
It was a Devils team that didn't have goaltending, and then Nashville.
Nashville.
I mean, but no offense, but if you couldn't coach your way to get past that Calgary team that was just trying its utmost to not make the playoffs, then I don't know what to tell you. I keep seeing people say he's a good coach, but I just, if he gets this job and he can't work well with the Rangers, then I don't know.
Then yeah. I don't know. I don't know if either of those options are the best, but I guess it's kind of. Is there another coach? I'm just thinking. Am I missing a coach that
Mark
could go in
Savard.
there?
Mark Savard, because Jeff Merrick needs to mention him at every turn. Mark Savard,
Yeah.
maybe. Patrick Waugh. Well, like, what's going on in Columbus? Like,
So
that's been quiet.
Listen, my pure
Pascal
absolute my pure crazy theory is if Peter Laviolette doesn't get the Rangers job, he gets the Columbus job.
There is no more boring combination than Peter Laviolette and the Columbus Blue Jackets. That is instantly. I don't think I would watch a single Blue Jacket. Not that I normally do, but even if they played the Habs, I'd say no. I'm not doing this. I don't have to. I have my own.
It's just my crazy theory. I don't obviously.
I think it's a good theory, man.
Thank you.
It's in character with the National Hockey League. And I think that's going to be everything.
Yeah,
we got through a lot. Yeah, it's hot, man.
It is hot.
I hate recording in the summer. I have to turn my fan off, and it's like, this is hot. I hate it. I can't sleep as well. It just sucks. All right. Well, thank you for listening, people. We'll be back. We'll figure it out. We will be back though. We always are.
We will be.
Maybe we try and get Baumgartner on.
Yeah, we should.
Big time bomber. That's what we gotta call him. Next time he's on, episode name Big Time Bomber.
Okay.
Please.
We got to get it. He's got to get another picture though.
Oh, he's not using the good picture though. I send him good pictures and he just doesn't use them because he's a coward. Won't reply to my tweets anymore. I think he's upset with me. Anyway, yeah, thanks for listening. We're podcast. That's where we are. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.